Okay, so what we learned last week was how to find congruency in non-right triangles. Okay? So if you have a non-right triangle, the 4 things we learned on Friday is what you use. But if you have a right triangle, you don't need as much information. And the reason that is because you already know that they have an angle in common, which is the right angle. So you only need 2 other things. All right? So there's no other way to draw 2 triangles that have the 90-degree angle and that have those 2 parts congruent without them being congruent totally. And that's what we learned on Friday about the side angle side and side side side. It was enough information. Every triangle has 6 parts, 3 sides and 3 angles, okay? That's 6 parts. So when you're doing triangle congruency that are not right, we need 3 of those parts to be congruent in a certain way, okay? They have to be in order. Remember, we learned that, and you guys did pretty well on that on Friday. So with right triangles, we need 2 parts, but they have to be certain parts, okay? You don't see AA up here, because that would be AAA. You got it? So you're not going to see the AA, but you see all the other combinations of those letters. So let's talk about those letters. We have an H, we have an A, and we have an L. And these are all parts of right triangles. The A stands for angle. And when we talk about angle, it's not the 90-degree one. It's one of the other 2, okay? H is hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse is easy to find, but on some of these pictures, you're going to have to find it and mark it. I think you should do that before you even start your assignment. People who didn't were getting the wrong answer. So what I like to do to find my hypotenuse is I like to look at these triangles as a field that I'm in. And I'm standing at the right angle, and I'm crossing the field. So that side that I hit when I cross the field is the hypotenuse. Everybody get that? So I would find it because you might get it confused with the L, which is the other parts of the other sides. So L is a body part that has to do with right triangles. What'd you say? Leg. Very good. It's the leg. And the legs are the other 2 sides. They're the legs. You understand that? Since in a right triangle, 90 is going to be your biggest angle, the side opposite is your biggest side, which is the hypotenuse, okay? That's what the hypotenuse is. And you should have learned that word in other years. Now I'm going to mark each one in green to show that congruency, okay? If I have a HA congruency, that means that the hypotenuse is going to be equal to the other hypotenuse. And one of these non-right angles is going to be equal to each other. If those markings are in the picture, you can say those two triangles are congruent by HA, hypotenuse angle. Got it? That's enough information to say they're congruent. Now what about HL? What would have to be marked? So we need to mark the hypotenuse again. And we have to mark one of the legs. So let's mark this one down here. If the hypotenuse and a leg are marked, we can say that those 2 are congruent by HL. Okay? So if this third set of 2 triangles are the leg angle one, you mark a leg, and then you mark one of the angles. And then they would be congruent by leg angle. Okay? And if these are congruent by leg, you mark one leg, and then you mark the other leg. And they would be congruent by leg. That's all you need. Things that are going to happen on these pictures. They're going to have X's on them that are not marked. And so if that means that we know that those 2 angles are congruent, so you can mark those yourself. The other thing you can mark are the shared side. And this would be a shared side. We know he is equal to himself. So in this case, if this is a right angle and a right angle, this shared side would be a leg, okay? And these share angles would be an angle, but they'd have to have a right angle here.
Oh.
So let's say this is a right angle and a right angle. Then this side here, let's say they mark this. You have to mark this one. This you put in, and you would have leg angle. So sometimes you have to add marks to the picture. And you're going to add marks when there's an X in the picture and when there's a shared side. You do not add marks any other time. Somebody's always trying to do that because it looks the same, but you do not add any other marks.